48 hours after it began, John Du Pont's standoff with police ended, with the heir to the Du Pont chemical fortune being taken into custody.
Shortly after 3 o'clock today, as a result of negotiations, we encouraged John Du Pont to exit his home, proceed in a southerly direction to a location where there were hot water boilers, and his intent was to make repairs to the boiler because he was without heat. Within a few moments, our SWAT teams were on location and they made a capture.
From the start, police insisted on negotiating instead of attacking Du Pont, who is an Olympic-class marksman and had a sizable weapons collection. Negotiations between Du Pont and the authorities, except for last night, took place almost every hour. They were described as cordial. Police, however, are making it clear this was not a surrender, but an apprehension.
He was not tricked into going out of the house. He expressed to us through negotiators that he was cold and that he was going to leave the house to fix his heater. And it was at that point, when he was out of the house on the north side of the building, on the east side of the building, that the apprehension was effected.
Du Pont is accused of murdering 36-year-old wrestler David Schultz, who won the Olympic gold medal in 1984. He was training for the '96 Olympics. Schultz lived and trained on the Du Pont estate. The shooting was witnessed by a Du Pont bodyguard and Schultz's wife. The Olympic hopeful's coach said he could not have imagined Du Pont shooting Schultz.
So it's really hard for me to believe that of all the people that he would want to shoot and kill, or not want to shoot and kill, that he would shoot and kill, would be Dave Schultz.
Once Du Pont was in custody, police entered the home looking for the .38 caliber weapon allegedly used in the shooting and also any drugs that may have been on the property. He's being held in a local jail. Regina Blakely, CBS News, Newtown Square, Pennsylvania.
John Du Pont, a member of the Du Pont family and heir to a considerable fortune, grew up and spent most of his life on the 800-acre Lycetta Hall farm in Newtown Square, Pennsylvania. Du Pont's parents, who raised and trained the thoroughbred racehorses, divorced when he was just 2 years old, and he and his mother remained on the estate. After graduating in 1957 from high school, Du Pont briefly attended the University of Pennsylvania. He later enrolled in the University of Miami, where he swam on the varsity team and from which he earned a degree in biology. He developed a passion for ornithology and natural history, and he amassed a collection of tens of thousands of preserved birds, birds' eggs and seashells. Also in the same year, he founded the Delaware Museum of Natural History, the institution originally based on Du Pont's collections, which opened outside Wilmington, Delaware in 1972, with Du Pont serving as its director. Du Pont's fascination with sports eclipsed his interest in natural history. However, he moved on from swimming to pentathlon, in which he won the 1965 Australian Championship, and he hosted the 1968 US Pentathlon Championships on his estate. Although he never achieved his dream of qualifying for an Olympic team, he managed the US pentathlon team at the Montreal 1976 Olympic Games. In the 1980s, Du Pont changed his focus to freestyle wrestling. In 1985, he donated money to establish a varsity wrestling team at Villanova University, for which he served as head coach. Du Pont built a state-of-the-art training facility at his estate, which he then renamed Foxcatcher Farm after his father's racing stables. In addition, he established an Olympic wrestling club, Team Foxcatcher, one of only a few such organisations in the United States, and he recruited top wrestlers, among them Mark Schultz, the younger brother of Dave Schultz and also an Olympic champion. Du Pont was an extraordinarily generous sponsor, providing stipends, travel expenses and for some free housing at Foxcatcher Farm. Among those living at the estate was Dave Schultz, who was a coach for Team Foxcatcher and was also in training for the 1996 Olympics. For at least the 1980s, Du Pont was known to drink heavily and to use cocaine. He seemed to have little control over his temper, and he had an extensive arms collection. He also required others to cooperate in maintaining his own fantasy that he himself was an accomplished wrestler and athlete. Du Pont then became increasingly prone to delusions, many of them paranoid in nature, especially after his mother's passing in 1988. A brief marriage in 1983 to 84 ended after his wife left him, apparently fearing for her life. His erratic behaviour was dismissed, though, by many of his wrestlers and the police force as just eccentricity, and few people regarded him as dangerous until he finally fatally shot Dave Schultz at Foxcatcher Farm in January 1996. Du Pont was then captured after a 48-hour standoff and was convicted in 1997 of a third-degree murder and was adjudged to be mentally ill. Du Pont then received a sentence of 13 to 30 years, and at age 72 on December the 9th 2010 he was found unresponsive in his bed at the State Correctional Institution. Cause of death has been ruled as COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. The story of Schultz's murder was dramatised in the film of the same name, Foxcatcher, from 2014, starring Channing Tatum, Mark Ruffalo and Steve Carell.